Well, Noel, it's great to see you 2 weeks into the new job here at the FAW Festival. How's it all going and how have you settled?
Oh, so far so good. I was appointed I think 2 months ago now, so I had the chance to read a lot of documents and a lot of things about Welsh football, but the 2 weeks being here has brought it to life because we've been out with the grassroots, with the likes of Sully Sports last night and Dinas Powys. We've got out to the Cymru Premier League with the likes of Barrytown. And we've got to spend time with the women's national team here this week and the men's national team. So we've had a broad spectrum of top flight football here in Wales, grassroots football, and of course the international stuff. So when I met with the FAW, I outlined what I'd like us to be, having worked with some of the best federations in Europe, like the Portuguese, the Belgians, the Polish, our neighbours in England. I really feel that Welsh football can be one of the best in Europe. The Welsh Football Association certainly can be one of the best football associations in Europe in the coming years. We have a huge amount to do, but I've never been more confident that we can achieve that. It's a lot. There's a lot of pace. It's fast-paced. There's match coming after match. But we've got to launch our strategy. Next Monday, the 27th of September, we're going to launch our Wales, which is about going from the park pitch to a global, to playing in World Cups for our women and men here in Wales. There's a huge amount of work to do, and I look forward very much to delivering that for Welsh football.
In the short term, how important is it that our international team succeed?
It's really important. The preparations of the women's national team and the structures that the FAW are supporting our national teams on, I would have to say, are second to none. I think you've seen that with the women this week. They really appreciate and feel our support and our love for what they're trying to do. But obviously when they cross the white line, they go out onto the pitch. Results are very, very important. We've brought in a new coach, Gemma, who has got huge potential. She's delivered on many levels so far in her career. Now she's managing a senior international team going into a World Cup campaign. Then she'll have a Euros after that. But the results are always important. She's new, so they're bonding, they're getting to know each other. So we have to understand that, of course, and to have patience with the side to reach their full potential. But we've every confidence that Gemma and the squad will reach their full potential before long, and that we'll be qualifying for Euros and hopefully World Cups. But we're in a very good place for our national teams. I was lucky to go to Kazan to see Gareth swing his left boot again and get a hat-trick and get us over the line on the 3 points. I got the chance to see the red wall and the Welsh fans here in Cardiff. That was unbelievable. I just could not get over the atmosphere that they created. It was just a shame we couldn't put Estonia to the sword. My wife's Estonian, so we haven't spoken since that match. She used to work for the Estonian Football Federation, so it was an interesting week in the Mooney household. But the performance, I thought in many ways, was very, very good against Estonia. It was just that we couldn't put the ball in the net. We missed the chance with Harry at the very start. Tyler, the keepers, made a very good save, the young goalkeeper from Arsenal, Hein. The next challenge that we have, and I know that with the likes of Sgorio, for example, who do a brilliant job in promoting Welsh top flight football, we would love to see children especially going around wearing the TNS or Connah's Quay or Barrytown jersey. That's the next challenge that we face. I have a lot of experience of working with European leagues with my work at UEFA. Having been the head of strategic development at UEFA for the last 10 years, I've got a very good view of what makes great football association, what creates great leagues. And here in Wales, we've certainly got the foundation. We've got a quality of play that, having seen a few of the league matches, is really good. What we need to do is to go to the next level in terms of the facilities, in terms of the professional management of the clubs. And that's very much part of what I'm here to do, is to help the clubs to professionalise their management, to improve the look and feel of the matches, to get more people to come to the games. I must say, Barry last week against Connah's Quay, it felt very full. I brought my wife and son to the game. I met fabulous people, and you could feel the town was really behind the club. What we're seeing in European football is a movement certainly from, and particularly post-COVID, or as we're coming out of COVID hopefully, towards a new reality, which is people embracing localised events and wanting to be part of local events. I think we're really well placed here in Wales to capitalise on that through our leagues. There's been a restructure of the Women's League, as you know. There has been a lot of work in the Men's League, but we have a long way to go on that. And I think that you'll see over the next 5 or 6 years lots of progress in them areas. In the new strategy we talk about next week, it's very wide-ranging. So it goes from facilities at grassroots and level to increased participation, which we've every confidence that we will do, a massive increase in participation at grassroots level. But I do see the Cymru Premier League as a big goal for us to improve. We've done it many times across Europe. In Wales, we've got the foundation to do it. So I'm really looking forward to working with the clubs and to developing bigger crowds and better performance actually from our clubs in Europe. We had the opportunity this year with Victoria Pilsen. We're lucky to take the share of the spoils this year. But with the new Conference League by UEFA, we've got a chance to get into the group stage more often. As part of our strategy, we want to support our clubs to get into the group stages more often. And that's something we'll be working very hard to do in the coming years.
You've been seen out and about attending the matches, which I have to say is great to see. What have you learnt from your experiences? You were at Penabont, you were at Barry. What have you learnt from those games? Well,
firstly, that Wales is very much a football country. I had some preconceptions maybe before I came here, but everybody here that I meet wants to talk about football, which is great. So it gives us a great foundation. At the grassroots clubs I was at last night, if you look, for example, at Sully Sports, there are 441 kids playing for them, more than there was before COVID. So we're emerging from COVID. We can see in the FAW, there's more people want to play football now than ever. So that's a great thing. I went to Dinas Powys last night, over 500 kids. So between them two clubs, there's over 1,000. What we need to see is more of a connection from the grassroots clubs to our Premier Division clubs. So that's something I certainly can see that we should develop. And that's something that the Premier Division clubs need to be aware of, is that they, on one hand, they will take their best players, because that's naturally what happens, is the best players in this area will want to gravitate towards Barry and so on and so forth. But that has to be managed carefully, because we also want them, same children in the clubs and their parents, to go along to support Barry at the top level. So that's quite a delicate balancing act. It's one that I've seen in other countries before. It's very achievable, but it's how it's managed. It's how it's communicated, it's how the relationships are built. So that's something we have to work a lot on. From the league matches I've seen, from going down to Penabont and from going to Barry, I'm really confident that we can build this league into something that's better and more successful. I feel very good about that. I think that we have all the ingredients with the people behind the clubs to achieve that. I feel the responsibility already of delivering for the clubs, because you meet them and you see, for example, at the grassroots level, they want to improve the facilities. They're all looking, of course, for full-size 3G pitches, because in the winter, if you go down to Sully Sports, it's probably not the nicest place to be in the winter time. There could be a lot of stuff called off, particularly underage levels. So we need to help them to reach their vision of having these facilities.
The slogan, Together Stronger, has been the slogan that started with the men's senior team. It's trickled all the way down, all the way to grassroots level. How do you ensure that that doesn't just maintain to be a catchy slogan, and that it's still something that the FAW completely embodies every day?
Together Stronger will be tested a lot over the next few months because it has been bought into by our national teams. The spirit that I've seen amongst our national teams and the backroom staff and the people in the FAW who interact with them is incredible. They are like sisters and brothers, these squads. I've never seen anything quite like the bond between them. So that clearly is lived by our national teams. Part of my job as the new FAW CEO with our team is to ensure it's lived throughout Welsh football, that it goes, as you say, from the national teams, trickles through to the grassroots, so that people like the clubs I've met, like Sully Sports or Dinas Powys, that they feel they're part of Together Stronger, that they feel that we're part of a movement that is growing, that's making Wales a happier, healthier country, because that's part of our role. Football is so powerful in what it does for mental health, for physical health of people. Soon we'll be launching the FAW social return investment model, which will show that football is worth hundreds of millions of pounds, grassroots football, with our 90,000 registered players and many more who play football on a more informal basis. We'll be launching what the value is to Wales as a sport, and that will demonstrate that Together Stronger doesn't just mean Welsh football, it means Welsh Government, it means Sport Wales, it means our local authorities buying into Together Stronger, not just for football, but for a happier, healthier Wales. And just looking ahead, Noel, what you've talked about is incredibly exciting, but if we sort of focus on
A bit like when a new US president comes in, there's always focus on the first 100 days.
Yeah.
What are they going to achieve? What are you hoping to achieve in your first 100 days?
Well, there is a clear plan for the first 100 days, as you say, which was first of all understanding. So seek first to understand and then to be understood. So the understanding part has been pretty fast. There's a lot of issues in the air. For example, we don't have enough referees at grassroots level, so it's clear to me, we need to get much more refereeing recruitment and retention at the grassroots level. We've implemented the Comet system, which has been successful. People see what we're trying to do, but there's no point saying that there's not issues around the speed at which we register players, particularly from international, coming from other countries. So there's live issues that have to be dealt with quickly to win the trust of the grassroots in Wales. Then there's the bigger issues. So next Monday we'll launch the new strategy, Our Wales. So basically going from the grassroots to World Cups and having the pathways all between built. That strategy will be launched and will give a clear roadmap for Welsh football for the next 5 or 6 years. So we're all aligned behind that. We're also doing a review of our high performance structures. So how will we produce the next Jess Fishlock, the next Gareth Bale, the next Wayne Hennessy? How will we produce these players? We're working with our friends in the Trust, like our technical director Dave Adams and other people, to make sure that we've got a high performance plan that will ensure that this pipeline of players comes through. Wales is a real football country. I can't believe the love here for football. I'm so excited about that love that people have for the game, but I also feel the responsibility to harness that love and affection for football into reaching our full potential.
Diolch, Noel.
You're welcome.